to thank Alicia for this privilege and the invitation a year ago. And I have to tell you something because I'd love to share this now because it really fits into everything. The internet is so important. Whatever you put on the internet stays there. So, for the Cosby's 25th anniversary trivia question, whose art was on the Cosby Show? The answer was Synthia Saint James, but it was not. It was Barnett Honeywood. So that's how initially Alicia and I connected off that question that everyone thought I was part of the Cosby Show. But it was my girl, Barnett Honeywood. So I'm putting that out there and straight. I did happen to have a piece or two in a different world, though. So that was cool. I am very much not like a typical speaker. I'm really up here really for you and for you to think about some things you want to ask me. But I can start out with my story as a child. In the Bronx, New York at 5, I decided that when I grew up I wanted to be a painter, an artist. All I knew about art, and my brothers and sisters and I did, which was color. Or do little drawings and see who's the best and little sibling rivalry going on. But for some reason in my mind, I said that's what I want to do when I grew up, and it stuck. And I like to share that because I see a lot of little people in the audience. And a lot of little people know what they want to do. And I'm extending this, some of my advice to the parents. Listen to what those little people say. You know, teach them things that they need to do other jobs to perhaps follow their passion or ever make a living at any kind of art. But don't let them smother that passion. Put those little drawings up on the refrigerator. Save some of the pictures for as they grow older. All those things are so important to little people. And I'm still a little person. I'm also very excited to say that this month I'm celebrating Medicare. I just turned 65. And I'm also celebrating 45 years since selling my first painting. I sold my first painting in New York when I was 20. The most improbable place in the world in New York on Fifth Avenue. I was working for a mortgage insurance company called Security Title. And my coworkers used to see me every payday coming back from the art store that I found in Manhattan with art supplies. So one of the lawyers actually came to me and he said, "Cynthia, I want you to do a painting for my apartment." I had no idea what that meant to be commissioned. But I love the fact that even today I get a lot of commissions because that means that you're getting paid part of it up front and part when it's done. You know, that's a guaranteed income. But here's how it felt. I said, well, how much would I charge? So it was, Daniel Fishman said to me, well, I'll pay you for a painting the amount of the money that the artists in Greenwich Village are getting, the street artists. At that time, a painter was getting about $75 for a painting. But here's what you have to think about. At that time, I had a semi-furnished apartment in a good area in the Bronx, New York, and it cost $125 a month. So to get $75 for something you love to do, can you just imagine? And what did I do with that $75? I bought one of the first Polaroid cameras that ever came out, so I could start taking pictures of my art and try to hold on to it so I could show other people. I bought all kinds of art supplies, and I bought my boyfriend a gift, and I still had some change. Right. But that says, wow, professional artist. So now I'm a professional artist for 45 years, and this month of going to a lot of colleges and universities, I've been celebrating that fact, and it's great to be here to celebrate it with you. Now, here's what I would really love. I would love for somebody here to be brave enough to just ask me a couple of questions so I can cater to more what you'd like to hear about.
Once you had your art exhibition, where did you decide to go for someone?
When I first had it exhibited? Okay. Good question. I had a lot of other jobs, believe me, record business. I even did some acting. I had in the 70s, the best job I ever had was a national McDonald's ad that kept me at home for 6 months painting. That was a great job. But what she's asking me is how did I go about getting my art out there for people to notice it and all. Basically, my favorite word is research. You gotta consistently do that. You've got to enter yourself into jury art shows. You've got to think about, well, can I have an exhibit at my community center? Can I have it in my church? Can I have a friend of mine have an art show for me in their home? Think of all the other ways. Don't always just think about galleries and museums, because often galleries scare people away because they know they're going into a store. Versus if you have them in someone's home, it's much more relaxed. It's not pressure. And they get a better price because they're not paying the galleries 50% more money. So you kind of pull them in that way. But my first one-woman show was in 1977 at Inner City Cultural Center, where I took acting and dance. And my acting teacher was Glenn Turman. Right. Some more questions, I hope.
Who are some of your icons?
He asked who were some of my icons. When I was younger, I'm a self-taught artist. I fell very much in love with the Impressionists. But later in life, I started listening to artists that were doing well, that once in a while would come talk to a group, and Ernie Barnes would be one, because his strong message was, you make a place for yourself in the art world. You make a place. And he made his place dealing with the fact he did a lot with football and sports and NFL. But everyone has to find a space, a place for themselves. And I consistently research. I've done a lot of work with nonprofit organizations. That came to be a one-day walk. I said, I love helping nonprofit organizations and donating prints so they can raise money. But what if they could commission me to do something and then they could really make goo gobs of money off it, because they could make merchandise, they could have prints and posters and pull in all kinds of money continuously from me. And at the same time, I'm making some money from it, but not like I would make from a Coca-Cola. So it's just finding niches. To give you an example too, I was never one to particularly want to stand in front of the audience and speak. I didn't think that was going to be one of the things I was going to do in life. Nor did I think that I was going to become an educator and actually have chances to work with so many colleges and universities. To give you an example of that, I unveiled a commissioned piece that I did for the Bar Association, the Black Bar Association in Los Angeles. And there was 500 primarily attorneys in the audience. And one attorney, because you know attorneys love to talk, so you don't feel like you have to say anything, unveiled the piece, and she looked at me and she said, Cynthia, do you have anything you'd like to say? Guess what I did? I pretended I had laryngitis. And it just came to me at spur of the moment. I said, I think I have laryngitis. Because I just was, too many pairs of eyes were looking at me. And then as the years went along, I learned that, because part of my heart is a nurturer, that I get so much back from the people I'm speaking to in the audience. That's why I like to make it interactive. I go home jazzed. I go home full of inspiration and hope that I do the same for the audience. So that's pretty much, that's me. Another question?
Did you ever think your dreams would come true?
This young lady asked me, did I ever think my dreams would come true? I'm going to tell you, I never realized how much they would come true. It floors me. Sometimes I have to pinch myself consistently or look at paintings I've done and say, wow, did I do that? And then look at, and just wake up and think of all these thousands of people that have my artwork in their house. That's just amazing to me. So I'm still amazed that it's happened. So that means you can do it too. Yay. She said yay.
Me?
You know what?
Okay.
Way in the back.
Oh yeah, I'm a poet, I write poetry, and I want to know how to take the liberal idea of Thomas Nelson. I want to know how to go about it. I got like 75 books.
He's a poet, and you have poetry already written?
Yeah.
Right. One of the things I just recently did, all those books that I had published by publishers, there was a website called createspace.com. You can publish your own poetry on there and have it available as books. There's no upfront money. You can figure it out yourself, and they're connected to Amazon.com. And your work would automatically be on Amazon for people to purchase. And all you have to do is purchase a proof to proof it, make sure it's where you like it, and then buy it per book or for how many people would want to buy it from you. So it's no costly thing. So many people go into a printer and maybe print 500 books and it's in their garage and they don't know what to do with it. This is already some built-in promotion. So that would be a great step, I would say. In fact, the book that I was nominated for Image Award for, I was the first book I ever self-published. Right, so that was pretty something. Questions? I don't see anybody else.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you know what? I got the light on me.
Okay, so my question is, after 45 years in your career, peace, what piece have you been most passionate about?
What piece? What painting? The one I just finished, because they're all my babies. When I think of things that astounded me, I would say the Kwanzaa stamp, because when that first was issued, that first year, was 130 million printed. Can you imagine having your work 130 million little stamps? And it was a stamp that was not only the 32-cent stamp that had a long life, 32, 33, 34, 37, before it was rested. So that was incredible. The other thing that stands out, in addition to my latest painting, is when I was asked to design a piece for an airport. And what they told me about was a terrazzo floor. And I looked up a terrazzo floor to figure out what that was. Basically, that's like a mosaic, a design. And I kind of thought, well, maybe I could do that. But then I sat in the meeting, our hard hats and hard shoes on at the airport, and it said Synthia Saint James, 2 feet 8 inches by 150 feet. Scared me to death. I think I had a frozen smile on my face, so I'm like, there ain't no way in that I can do this. I am not Michelangelo, nor do I think I want to kill myself in 6 months trying to do this. And that's when I learned a very important word that became a strong part of my vocabulary, fabricator. So the curator said, Synthia, you can design it. I didn't design it to scale though. So imagine 150 feet to scale. And I know you're not going to guess this, but I always like to say, guess how I got through it. I listened to Sade's greatest hits the whole time. And I was just doing this big drawing. She was over there being smooth. And one of these years I need to thank her, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that got